What's up guys, Uriah here, and welcome to another Rogue Guide. In this video I'm going to be talking about the Horde races for Rogue, their benefits in PvE and PvP, and my personal thoughts on what race I think is the best or the one I like more. So let's get right into it. First up on our list we have Orc. Now, Orc is a pretty good option honestly. They have good racials and aesthetically they look good, so let's start with axe specialization. For Rogue, it's not really useful, because you can't even equip axes, so yeah, that one's bad. But the next racial, Blood Fury, is pretty good because it increases your base melee attack power by 25%, but the downside is it reduces the healing on you by 50%. It lasts 15 seconds, so you have a pretty good duration if you're opening on someone in PvP, and say you're doing a boss fight that lasts like a minute, so 15 seconds out of the minute you're doing more DPS. Now the way it works is, when you're naked, whatever your attack power is, it's increased by 25%. That's how this racial works. So with your gear, it doesn't scale. So if you draw on a whole bunch of good gear and then you think you're going to get 25% of that AP, that's not how it works. Now, their last racial that is really good, and why most people play Orc to begin with for PvP, is Hardiness. Now what Hardiness does is, it increases your chance to resist a stun by 25%. The reason why that's important is an enemy rogue ganks you, you could resist their cheap shot or their kidney shot. A warrior is charging into you or intercepting you in a battleground or something. You have a chance to resist that, and then you're able to get off your abilities such as your blind or your gouge to try to get them off of you. Even like hunter pets that have stuns or something, you have a chance to not get hurt by that because you could resist it. A lot of people believe that Orc is the best race for Horde Rogue because you have the attack power for PvE and PvP. You also have the hardiness, which is useful in PvP, so a lot of good options if you choose to go Orc. Personally, it's okay, it's not bad. So going on to the next option, we have Trolls. Now, as a rogue, Troll doesn't really bring much other than one of their racials that's okay. So we have the first racial, Beast Slaying. Increases damage versus beasts by 5%. It's not bad, it's good for PvE if you're fighting beasts obviously. Other than that, it doesn't serve any other purpose. Now going down to the reason why a lot of people play Troll Rogue is Berserking. What Berserking does is it increases the attack speed by 10 to 30%. Now, what that means is, when you're full HP, you're only going to get 10% because it's based off of your current health. But if you're low health, you could get up to 30%. It lasts 10 seconds, so it's a pretty good power boost. Now, what this does for Rogue is, it means you'll have more swings, so you'll have more white damage from your weapons, and you'll have more chances to proc your poisons because of that. So, it's a small DPS increase for PvE. For PvP, I don't really see that much use for it because your damage in PvP is a lot more based on like your hemorrhage, your backstab, stuff like that. You know, your eviscerate, your ability damage is more important because you don't want to sit there attacking someone like a target dummy with all your white damage and then you let them hit you, because as a rogue you don't want to let anyone hit you if anything. So for PvP it's kind of lackluster. Their last racial I wanted to put in here, I thought it was pretty okay, is Regeneration. Now your health regen is increased by 10% of total HP. Could be worse. When you're not in combat and it's stealth, it's a pretty good racial to help you regain your HP without having to pop a potion or something, or sit down and eat and expose yourself to the enemy. Would I go Troll Rogue? Absolutely not. I think it's a waste. I think Orc is way better if you want to be a rogue compared to Troll, because you get the attack power, you get the stun resistance, just too good. Now finally, the last race for Horde Rogue, you have the Forsaken. Now, everyone knows about the undeads, what they do, how annoying they can be in PvP, and because of how good they are in PvP, people even pick them for PvE, just so they have that advantage in the world when they're out farming or doing whatever it is they're doing. Their first racial is Cannibalize. Regenerates 7% of your total health for 10 seconds. But you can only use it on humanoids and undeads. So what that means is enemy mobs that are humanoid and undead you can cannibalize to regain health, and alliance players, you know, the enemy players, you can cannibalize them. So say you're ganking like 3 people, kill one, you CC the other ones, you're low HP, you can cannibalize while the other guys are CC'd, potentially get more HP back and be able to survive killing off the last 2 people. The only downside to cannibalize, I'd say, is that if you take damage while you're cannibalizing, it'll take you out of it. So dots or any sort of damage like that will stop your channeling of it and essentially waste the racial cooldown. So be mindful when you're using it of what dots you have on you or if you're being attacked. Now, the last racial that makes undeads really good is Will of the Forsaken. I'm going to tell you why. So it gives you immunity for charm, fear, and sleep, and it lasts 5 seconds. You can use it while you are afflicted by these things. So if someone has you in fear or charm or something, boom, you can pop your Will of the Forsaken and free yourself. Not only do you free yourself, but while it's up, they cannot cast it on you again. So that just makes it even better. Essentially immune for those 5 seconds. Completely immune, they can't do anything about it. So what that means is if you're fighting your warlocks and your shadow priests who fear you, Will of the Forsaken will save you. You're fighting a succubus pet from a warlock, Will of the Forsaken will save you. And I'd say as a melee, rogue struggles against those characters because of, you know, the charm and the fear. It's really annoying, and they can just blow you up while you're feared and charmed, and it's no fun. So that's one of the advantages undead rogues have over the others. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that undeads also get increased shadow resistance. So this is the reason why you don't see that many warlocks and shadow priests on Alliance, because they don't want to have to deal with undeads tanking their damage, because undeads can be more than just rogue. Obviously, they can be warrior, they can be mage and warlock, etc. So instead of dealing with that, they either roll Horde or they just don't play shadow priest or warlock. Now that we've talked about all of the races that the Horde has and their racials, let's talk about how they measure up to each other. So say you're getting ganked, you know, you have your orc, you're gonna resist those stuns, you're gonna pop the Blood Fury and do crazy damage, and you're pretty much gonna be up there in DPS and PvE as well. So orc, a good option. Troll is just bad. Like, the berserking isn't really that good. You might see 1 or 2 out of the, you know, hundreds of rogues you'll see in Orgrimmar, and those guys are firm believers that troll is the best and highest damage. But in my opinion, if you saw a lot of troll rogues, then maybe it would be an argument worth talking about, because then it'd be like, oh, all these people are swapping over to troll rogue. Maybe there's something going on there. But unfortunately, that's just not the case. Now, lastly, we have the undead. Now, what the undead allows you to do is tackle those harder matchups for rogue like warlock and shadow priest, who really rely on CCing you with their fears and charms to get the finishing blows on you. It also allows you to take less damage from them because of the shadow resistance. So keep that in mind. Also, similar to the troll, how the troll can regenerate out of combat faster than everyone else, you have essentially a self-heal with the cannibalize. If used wisely, it can increase your chances of surviving against 2 or more opponents, being able to CC people and cannibalize instead of pot wasting or using your potion, your health potion or something like that. The cannibalize brings you another healing ability to help combat those multiple foes you're taking down. So cannibalize is good. Now, my preference is undead. I like undead rogue the most aesthetically. I like being able to fight the warlocks and shadow priests, so usually when I play rogue, I'm always undead. So that's pretty much sums it up, honestly. I think I've talked about and covered everything I wanted to in this video. If I left anything out, I'll just make another video or something. I am going to do one for the Alliance in the future, because I know there's Alliance players that play rogue that could be misinformed or trying to figure out what the best race on Alliance is for rogue, if that is the faction they choose to play. So look out for that. Also, any questions or concerns, leave them in the comments. I have no problem answering people's questions. And I think that about sums up everything. I'll catch you guys in the next video.